Hey, what's up, guys? So I've been meaning to talk about shoes for quite a while. These have been sitting on my desk forever, and someone just posted asking about shoes. So what a perfect time. And my original purpose was to talk about kids and shoes and healthy feet, but this applies to adults as well, all right? So first, I'm gonna go over the two things I really avoid in shoes, boots, everything, as much as humanly possible. And that is one, a big elevated heel, so your heel's up higher than your toes, and then two, a shoe that's really stiff. Like I can't even barely bend this thing, so it's like a cast. All right. So here's why. Imagine if you took your hand and put in a glove that was stiff, right? So you couldn't really move your hand nearly as much as it would if you didn't have a glove on. Can you see how if you did that all the time, like your muscles, all the intricate muscles in your hand would get deconditioned, and that could cause problems. And then also imagine if it was just kind of bent at an unnatural angle all the time, how that could cause issues, right? It's kind of like when your heel is elevated, you're lifted forward, so everything has to compensate, and your Achilles get shortened. And it's just, we're born barefoot. I'm a strong believer that being barefoot as much as humanly possible is the best option. Like I want my kids to be barefoot as much as they can. And if they can't be barefoot, I give them shoes like this that are as flimsy as possible. So it's basically just a tiny little thin piece of rubber protecting them from glass or something sharp. So these ones, I don't even know what brand they are. Norda 8 or some, Amazon, like 15 bucks. Big fan of them. Super thin, a little more expensive, and this is the brand I prefer personally, is Xero. So they're so flimsy, like easy to bend, really flat, no elevated heel. Exact same shoe I wear, super flimsy. Got a nice wide toe box so my toes can flutter out and like jam together. One thing that's really interesting, I'm a big fan of learning from tribesmen, hunter gatherers, and this dude Steve Ronella went on this hunting trip with them, just an experience. But he said that the big thing that stuck out to him is these dudes are running around barefoot in the jungle, right? I mean, that's how all of our ancestors used to be, barefoot, run around in the jungle. And he said their toes were like really wide and very coordinated, like they could grip onto things. Like they had such strong feet with wide toes. It's like, oh, it makes so much sense. Like they said their feet were like hands, right? And our feet are like jammed in, weak. We got plantar fasciitis and all these super common foot injuries. And I'm a firm believer a big part of that is because from a very young age, we jam our feet into basically casts, and they get weak and deconditioned and elevated, and our Achilles short, and that can affect our low back and our neck and our forward head posture all the way up. All right. So I guess the real short point I'm trying to get to is try and be as close to barefoot as much as possible. I mean, where these came from, by the way, and this elevated heel on boots like this was when people rode horses and this would slide into the stirrup. Well, that made sense, right? For a cowboy. Travel back even further, high heels were common in Europe because there used to not be sewers, so people would crap in buckets, throw out the windows. There'd be sewage all over the streets, so dudes would wear high heels to keep their pants out of the poop, right? And then somehow it becomes a fashion thing, and then somehow, people, and then the history of Nike and their shoes. It's really interesting, right? But I mean, so much of shoes is just purely based on marketing and nonsense, not truly what's best for our feet and ankles and knees and hips and all the way on up. Try to be as barefoot as much as possible, and especially your kids. Try and keep them barefoot as much as they can. And when you do buy them shoes, I'm a big believer in function over fashion, especially at a young age. So I want nice, healthy feet. So get as flimsy of a shoe as possible. And then I'll put a link for these shoes that I like down below. A lot of people like Nobles. I don't know. I've never had them. I think these look cooler, but I know. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all made in China, like these ones here. And just get as thin and comfortable ones as you can.